Why are fantasy football T-sleepers so hard to identify? Have you ever wondered why finding tight end sleepers in fantasy football feels like searching for a needle in a haystack? The tight end position is tricky, and here is why. First off, tight ends are less predictable than running backs or wide receivers. They often have fewer consistent targets and less defined roles in their offenses. This makes it hard to project their fantasy output accurately. One major factor is the limited number of elite tight ends. Outside of a few top players, most tight ends have fluctuating usage from week to week and season to season. This inconsistency means their fantasy value can swing dramatically. It makes spotting undervalued players before the draft quite challenging. Another reason is that tight ends often play different roles in their teams. Some are primarily blockers who catch the ball only occasionally. Others may share targets with multiple pass catchers, which limits their potential for fantasy points. Changes in offensive schemes and injuries can also impact tight end production significantly. This adds another layer of uncertainty that fantasy managers must navigate. When we talk about a sleeper, we mean a player whose draft position is lower than what their actual fantasy performance will justify. For tight ends, this gap can be large, but predicting it is tough due to the position's volatility. Players who are drafted late or overlooked can outperform expectations if they gain a larger role or benefit from touchdown regression. However, identifying these players ahead of time requires careful analysis of team context, target share potential, and offensive trends. From a practical standpoint, many fantasy managers wait until later rounds to draft tight ends. They hope to find these sleepers or use waiver wire pickups during the season. This strategy acknowledges the difficulty in forecasting tight end production accurately and the importance of flexibility in roster construction. In summary, tight end sleepers are hard to identify because their fantasy production depends on many variable factors. These include inconsistent target volume, team offensive schemes, injury risks, and a limited number of elite options. This makes projecting which lesser-known or undervalued tight ends will outperform their draft position a complex task in fantasy football.